Good afternoon and welcome to Pan-African News. We are coming to you from our studios in Abilinkwe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. We are live on satellite across 32 African countries. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television and also on YouTube at Pan-African Television. My name is Justice Appiah. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin, we'll be looking at deceased MPs who were replaced by spouses in Parliament, the section of the public who argue that we are setting a bad precedent with that move. We have initiated 1,011 SHS projects since 2017, says Education Minister. Oti House of Chiefs seals our independence. Krachura tells President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Later in business, NDC will streamline fishing sector to ensure growth, says former President John Dramani Mahama. Details of these stories, including others, will come your way for the next 1 hour. We are going for a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now let's do some election-focused stories. There's a growing trend of deceased members of parliament being succeeded by their spouses. Pan-African News Desk chronicles some few observations of the trend since Ghana started practicing the Fourth Republican Constitution.
In the run-up to the 2016 general elections, Linda Obenewa Akwele Oklu was selected by the opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC) to step into the shoes of her late husband, Desmond William Oklu, who was representing the party as their parliamentary candidate for Shai Osudoku. The husband had unfortunately died on the spot in a road accident in May 2016 in Joaso in the Asante Achem South District of the Ashanti region. In the accident, Desmond William Oklu reportedly had a head-on crash with another vehicle whose driver also died. At the end of the 2016 general elections, Linda Oklu won with 20,114 votes to beat 3 other contenders, namely Stephen Nene Oyete of the New Patriotic Party (NPP), who garnered 6,518 votes, Emmanuel Mate Tete of the Progressive People's Party (PPP), who polled 3,203 votes, and Solomon Dor, who stood on the ticket of the Convention People's Party (CPP), got 154 votes. Linda Oklu is also seeking re-election this year. Next is Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan, the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon in Accra, also succeeded her late husband, Emmanuel Tremantin Ejako, who died in office. In the run-up to the by-election held Thursday, January 31, 2019, Lydia Al-Hassan promised the people of Ayawaso West Wuogon to continue the good work started by her late husband if she got the mandate to represent them in Parliament. She rebuffed claims that authorities initiated developmental projects in the area days leading to the by-election just to score political points. Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan, who was the second wife of Emmanuel Tremantin Ejako, polled 68.80% of the valid votes cast. Her closest challenger, Kwesi Delali Bimpong of the opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC), polled 30.52%, while William Kofi Doopo of the Progressive People's Party (PPP) and Clement Boedi of the Liberal Party of Ghana (LPG) polled 0.58% and 0.10% respectively. Lydia Al-Hassan is also therefore seeking re-election on December 7, 2020. Recently is Ophelia Hayford in the Infantiman constituency. The New Patriotic Party settled on her to succeed the husband and Member of Parliament, Eko Kwanzaa Hayford, who was murdered by some unknown assailants on October 9, 2020. Ophelia Hayford is an assistant superintendent of police but has had to resign from the Ghana Police Service to accept her new role. She will represent the party in this year's poll if her candidature is unanimously and overwhelmingly approved.
Now, the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has said there have been 111 infrastructure project initiatives in senior high schools across the country since 2017. He further revealed that 492 projects had been completed, with the rest at various stages of completion.
In the area of secondary education, between when we started free SHS in 2017 and 2018 to the next academic year, we did the analysis and found out that we needed accommodation seats for 181,993 students, because we are expecting 472,000 students to go to school, but the available seats for them to sit on were about 290. That is what led to the double track. The number of seats that were available in all our secondary schools and the number of students that were going to, or we envisaged were coming to first year at that time, because the free SHL had been so successful, there was a need to fill or to build 181,993 classroom blocks. We couldn't build that within a year, and the children could not stay at home. Whose child should stay at home and who should go? That is the famous vice president saying, and that is the reason. So that meant that overnight, we have increased access by 31%. The people who went in 2017, 2018, and those who are going to 2018, 2019. And across the country, we learned one of the 5 pillars of the free senior high school was infrastructure development. From day one, we knew that because we are going to open up, people who will be attending school even the more. So we developed 1,011 structures around the country, from where there's the largest need to where there was the least, across the length and breadth of the country. So the 5 pillars of the free senior high school was access, equity, quality, technical and vocational education and training, and infrastructure development. In the secondary field, the GEF Fund has initiated 840 projects. The C secondary education infrastructure project, or additional funding we came to negotiate, we're doing 135 projects, which we have completed 107, 843, we have completed 382, and the Kuwaiti Fund with 33 projects, we just started it and we have completed 3. So out of the 1,011 projects initiated, 492 have been completed and more are in different stages of completion.
Now let's go to the Oti region, where Nana Impra Besimura III, Krachura, has said the successful constitution of the Oti Regional House of Chiefs marked the full realization of the region's quest for independence. He thanked President Akufo-Addo for empowering their dream and asked that those who are dedicated or those who dedicated themselves to the cause are duly appreciated.
The Krachura made the comment in his victory speech after being elected as President of the constituted Oti Regional House of Chiefs at Dambai. Nana Soglo Alo, Paramount Chief of Likwe Traditional Area and immediate past President of the Volta House of Chiefs, was defeated by the Krachura, who polled 10 out of 14 votes cast. Also, the House elected representatives at the National House, Nana Obombo Seura Lepora II, Paramount Chief of Achode, Nana Obrimpong Kanya of Nchumuru, and Nana Frimpom Ware III, Omanhini of Appiah Traditional Area.
In a bid to make sure that voters make the right choice in the upcoming general elections, the Concerned Voters Movement are talking about the achievements of both political parties and why voters should vote for a certain political party in the upcoming elections. And we've been joined in the studio by Razak Kojopoku, who is a convener for Concerned Voters Movement. He's going to be telling us why voters would have to vote for a certain a particular political party and on what basis should that be done. Razak, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank God.
I've been seeing, different, press releases from your outfit and all of that. You've been speaking on issues concerning voters. What about that?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Concerned voters movement being a critical stakeholder to our multi-party democracy that we are practicing, it's quite imperative that we also try to assess the performance of political parties, compare their manifesto, and also when they were given the opportunity to govern us, were they able to execute the policy document that they signed, the contract that they signed with the Ghanaian people. And ahead of 2020 elections, it's quite interesting that we have two leading candidates. One has been a vice president acting and a substantive president before, and we have a current president now.
Exactly.
So we are looking at the policy statements these two candidates are presenting to the good people of Ghana to make a choice.
Okay.
Because if you read our constitution, Article 1, it states clearly that the sovereignty resides in the people. So whoever wants to lead us, the people that have to determine who should lead us. But you need to present a policy, an initiative, and programs that has the potency or the tendency to transform the lives of the people, transform the economy, and offer us a good governance.
Do you think that these two political parties who are gunning for, I mean, the elections and then probably lead this country have presented something Ghanaians are interested in?
Of course. When we assess the track record of John Mahama and Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in fact, they are the two main leading candidates. If you compare the performance of these two leaders, we think that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has a better policies and program for the Ghanaian people.
Why do you think that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has better policies and programs as compared to his counterpart, John Dramani Mahama?
Yes. The reason why being is that Akufo-Addo was in opposition, assured the good people of Ghana that when given the mandate, is going to implement free SHS to make sure that the Ghanaian children will have access to senior high school without any impediment. And when given the opportunity, he has been able to implement the free SHS to, I mean, it's loud and clear for everybody to see. When John Mahama, then as a president, and Akufo-Addo was making those propositions, John Mahama vehemently and the NDC people have a counter opinion that it cannot be done. It's not possible. We need 20 years before we can do the free SHS. But the argument is that
they did not say that it wouldn't be possible.
They said it cannot be done. John Mahama said even if it has a certain amount of money, I don't have the video evidence here, but if you Google it, he said it. In fact, when you take the policy document of the NDC,
but it started
2008, one progressive free SHS. We are talking about holistic
you
free
and I
SHS.
know progressively free.
We are talking about a holistic free SHS.
Former President John Dramani Mahama.
Listen,
are you not aware?
There was nothing like progressive free SHS. We are talking about holistic free SHS. A free SHS whereby the Ghanaian children will have opportunity to go to the senior high school without any shred of impediment. That was not what John Mahama was offering. Do you understand?
What did he offer then?
That was not what he was offering.
But what
if in fact he was implementing a free SHS, it could have been a campaign to ahead of 2016. But I have Fifi Kwete, Asidun Ketia, John Mahama himself, and even the education minister, who is now the running mate, strongly opposing.
But I'm sure you are aware, or you've heard a policy that they equally started when they were in government.
Which policy?
The implementation of the progressively free senior high school policy, because they believe that
holistically there's no
it couldn't have been done, but it do
there's no
gradually.
evidence to support that.
Okay.
There's no evidence to support that progressive free SHS that they were talking about. How many students enjoy that progressive free SHS? And even that progressive free SHS, what does that mean? What does that imply? In fact, we didn't see senior high school students praising the government then or the president then that they are enjoying progressive free SHS. Did you ever saw that? Or have you ever seen SHS students praising John Mahama that through John Mahama initiative, they enjoy progressive free SHS? But with Akufo-Addo free SHS, you can attest to the fact that a lot of senior high school people are praising the president. That is a good policy that they are benefiting from. So it's talking about a policy that everybody is clear for everybody to see. It's not you coming to tell us that you did free SHS.
But 2020 elections is
the
not
student
just about
themselves,
senior high school policy.
No,
I mean,
I was making an emphasis that we are looking at the statement of Akufo-Addo, when in opposition, when given the opportunity, hasn't been able to implement those policies and programs he was telling Ghanaians that
you've told the good people of Ghana
he said one district, one factory.
Promises
He said one district, one factory. When given opportunity, he will do one district,
How many
one
did
factory.
they build?
As it stands now, they have built more than 79 district factories.
And where are those district factories? Where are they located?
How
many did they build from the scratch?
How many they build from the scratch?
Yes.
If you go to a country, they build from the scratch.
How many?
If you go to a country, they build from the scratch.
If we are looking at the promises,
and I'm giving you a figure, 79
so I'm saying that,
out of the 258 districts.
It seems my time is almost up. But briefly, let's look at this. If we are talking about one district, one factory, and the promises given, we should also look at the number of districts we have in this country.
You see,
how many of those factories have been delivered?
They have
talking about 70 of them.
They have delivered 79.
Where can we trace those factories?
If you go to a country, you can see one.
You talked about 1 out of 70.
If you go to Achunwan Obieja, you can see Daku Farm that was collapsed under John Mahama and the NDC.
That it's not the making of the new patriotic party. Dakun Farms is a factory that
it was collapsed in John Mahama's administration. And now
but
it has come back to life.
Factory.
Akosomo Testers.
See,
when you talk of one district, one factory, it's in two package.
Okay, tell us the
providing package. Stimulus package to existing company that has been collapsed as a result of bad governance and mismanagement of Mama Mills administration, and also helping private individuals who has the entrepreneurial skills to establish businesses. The government partner them with certain facility through Exim Bank to execute those projects. That's one district, one factory policy that we are talking about. One
did you make that known to the good people of Ghana in 2016? That was what you were going to do?
That was in this manifesto.
Then
whatever they are implementing,
that is not what you told the good people.
What did they tell
that you are building factories in all districts across the country?
They tell you in partnership with the private sector.
Did they say that?
I say in partnership with the private sector. That's what they said, and that was in the manifesto. Do you understand? And apart from that, they say when given the opportunity, they are going to ensure that every constituency will have one ambulance. Are you not aware that every constituency has been given an ambulance? One village, one dam, especially in the northern areas.
How many dams have been constructed?
I don't have the figure.
How many did
but
they
are visible dams that have been constructed.
How many did they tell the good people or not that they are
tell us that they are going to construct
all villages in the north having dams?
In every village where it is necessary.
But are all villages in the north having dams?
When you make that kind of argument, with all due respect, it is something that cannot be
Those are promises given to the good people of the north.
We are talking about 4-year mandate. 4-year mandate. Okay? Somebody, when giving the 8-year mandate, they said they are going to build 200 community senior high schools. 8 years. They were able to finish only 29. Okay?
Who is telling the truth? The education minister said that they finished about 40-something.
29.
We are talking about 29.
I'm talking about 29.
So you mean the education minister lied that they completed about 40-something?
Education minister never lied. It has never
So where did you get the 29
It has been stated, even in their handing over. It was 29.
And I'm saying
completed for use.
I'm stating on record that the education minister, Dr. Matthew Poku,
he has never said they completed more.
They have completed about 43 of those schools. So where did you get the 29 from?
It's never true. Matthew Poku Prepper has never said anywhere that John Mahama gave them 43 completed senior E-blocks. It was 29 complete for use. Others were in various stages of completion.
How many secondary schools has the Akufo-Addo government been able to complete or build from the scratch?
Build from the scratch?
Yes.
Now they are building 9 model schools, which is different from E-block.
Where are those schools
if you talk about E-block, and as I'm talking to you now, the government is constructing about 932 structures in almost all the senior high schools.
Very well.
If you take one structure, it's bigger, better than the useless G-block Baba handed over to Akufo-Addo's administration.
Okay.
So it's not about the structure per se. Because if you take one G-block structure, and you compare to the structures that Akufo-Addo government is constructing across the various senior high school, it's better in state, better in structure than the E-block.
And where are these secondary schools that is being built by President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo? Where are they located?
Across.
Can you tell us where one single one is located?
Across.
If you say across, you've not mentioned any place.
If you go to Opokuwari, you see one. If you go to Prempeh College, you see one.
Opokuwari is an existing school. I asked you a question whether or not he has started
building
a secondary school.
And I was telling you that
All right.
they are constructing 9 model senior high schools. One is in Daban, which
Okay.
is named after former President
All right.
John
Yeah.
Ajay Kufuor. And apart from that,
Okay.
the
Kindly
structures,
make it
the
snappy.
932 structures that they are constructing
Okay.
in other existing senior high schools, they are better in state of the art in terms of structure, in terms of even the facility. It's better than the segregated G-block that Mahama constructed. One structure that you found in Prempeh College that has been executed by Akufo-Addo government is better than U-block of Mahama.
Okay. All right. So you think that based on that, President Akufo-Addo stands a better chance of winning the 2020
election? He stands taller than John Mahama. And clearly, the policies...
But you have mentioned the policies, I mean, implementation of some of their policies, the promises.
Yeah.
But you've never mentioned a single one from John Mahama when he was in power. Or you think that he didn't do anything when he was in power?
It's left for the NDC to talk about what John Mahama did.
Okay.
It's none of my business to say what John Mahama did.
But you are comparing the achievements.
And I'm telling you that when Mahama was given the opportunity, what the state of the economy, when he was living, he gave Akufo-Addo 25.5 policy rate.
Okay.
As it stands now, it's 14.5%.
Let's look at borrowing. How much did they borrow during their time? And how much have you borrowed so far?
Borrowing, even if Akufo-Addo is borrowing, he's borrowing to service the debts of John Mahama.
How is that possible?
He's servicing the debts of John Mahama. Yes.
Then we'll end up borrowing more.
You will not end up borrowing. That's why it's Ghana beyond aid.
Okay.
If all these factories that we are talking about tap into friction, there's no need going to borrow.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
If you finish digitizing the economy, whereby everybody is paying the needed taxes that are expected to pay, there's no need going back to the IMF and the World Bank.
Okay.
That's the Ghana beyond aid.
All right.
But we need to start from somewhere. If John Mahama has been able to even hand over 10 factories to Akufo-Addo,
unfortunately,
even 2. Okay.
Unfortunately, we need to continue this conversation on my program tonight, Hot News.
No problem.
I'll let my producers get your number so that we continue the conversation from there tonight. Now our time is up for the interview.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking to Razak Kojopoku, convener for Concerned Voters Movement. He's been talking about the achievements of both political parties and who he thinks stand a better chance of winning the 2020 elections. Away from that, rumors are rife that sensitization on the fatal COVID-19 pandemic and adherence to safety protocols has been effective mostly in urban areas. In a bid to satisfy one's curiosity, our news desk embarked on a journey to some deprived areas to access what residents there make of COVID-19 and has filed this report.
Our news team visited Nyamibetre in the Ewutu Senya municipality, which is a few meters away from Kaswa, Bojiase, and found out that residents in the area have no or little idea of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was heartbreaking to hear that these people have only heard of sanitizer but have not had access to any, even after handling money.
Away from Ghana, let's do some other stories from the African continent. Today marks the 33rd anniversary of Captain Thomas Sankara's assassination in Burkina Faso. Our news desk takes a look at the life and enviable legacy of Africa's Che Guevara.
Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara was born on December 21, 1949 to Sambo Joseph and Margaret Sankara in the Burkinabe town of Yako. He schooled at Bobo Dioulasso, applied himself seriously to academic work, and excelled in both mathematics and French. After enlisting in the military in 1966, he underwent training as a pilot and attended further courses in France, Madagascar, and Morocco. A highly knowledgeable individual who immersed himself in the teachings of Vladimir Lenin and Karl Marx, he delved into the nasty and adversarial game of politics, which saw him served as a Secretary of State in 1981 and Prime Minister in 1983. Nicknamed Africa's Che Guevara, for his charisma and dynamism, he became the country's leader, following the ouster of Major Jean-Baptiste Ouedraogo on August 4, 1983, renamed the country initially known as Upper Volta Burkina Faso, meaning Land of Incorruptible Men, gave it a new flag and composed a new national anthem. His policies centered on anti-imperialism, nationalization of land and mineral wealth, promotion of education with a nationwide literacy campaign, prioritization of health with the vaccination of children against yellow fever, measles and meningitis, disbandment of polygamy, forced marriages and clitoridectomy. The charismatic, action-driven and result-oriented leader was assassinated on October 15, 1987, with 12 officials in a coup instigated by Captain Blaise Compaoré.
Ghanaian entrepreneur and author Kevin Mensah has urged citizens in the diaspora to return home and give back to society. Speaking in an interview with my colleague Fauzu Masaudu, the Goodwill Ambassador for the KJM Foundation maintained that developing Africa is a collective responsibility and not a prerogative of any government. He added that philanthropists who intend to take up humanitarian projects should step out of Accra to the hinterlands to address the real societal issues. Finally, on the local front, let's do some health story, and we are still looking at breast cancer. Breast cancer occurs mainly in women, but men can get it too. Many people do not realize that men have breast tissue and that they can develop a breast cancer.
Cells in nearly any part of the body can become cancer and can spread to other areas. Breast cancer starts when cells in the breast begin to grow out of control. These cells usually form a tumor that can often be seen on an X-ray or felt as a lump. The tumor is malignant if the cells can grow into surrounding tissues or spread to distant areas of the body. Until puberty, young boys and girls have a small amount of breast tissue consisting of a few ducts located under the nipple and areola. At puberty, a girl's ovaries make female hormones, causing breast ducts to grow and lobules to form at the ends of duct. Even after puberty, boys and men normally have low levels of female hormones and breast tissue doesn't grow much. Men's breast tissue has duct, but only a few of any lobules. Breast cancer can spread when the cancer cells get into the body or lymph system and are carried to other parts of the body. The lymph system is a network of lymph vessels found throughout the body. The lymph vessels carry lymph fluids and connect lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are small bean-shaped collections of immune system cells. Lymph vessels are like small veins except that they carry a clear fluid called lymph away from the breast. Lymph contains tissues, fluid, and waste products, as well as immune system cells. Breast cancer cells can enter lymph vessels and start to grow in lymph nodes. Most of the lymph vessels of the breast drain into lymph nodes under the arm, lymph nodes around the collarbone, and infraclavicular lymph nodes inside the chest near the breastbone. If the cancer cells have spread to your lymph nodes, there is a high chance that the cells could have also traveled through the lymph system and spread to other parts of your body. The more lymph nodes with breast cancer cells, the more likely it is that the cancer may be found in other organs. Because of this, finding cancer in one or more lymph nodes often affects your treatment plan. Usually, surgery to remove one or more lymph nodes will be needed to know whether the cancer has spread. Still, not all men with cancer cells in the lymph nodes develop metastasis to other areas, and some men can have no cancer cells in their lymph nodes and later develop metastasis.
For the local stories, but coming up in business, NDC will streamline fishing sector to ensure growth, says former President John Dramani Mahama. Details shortly after this break. Business stories. The presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, has said that his next government will streamline the fishing sector to benefit fishermen and other stakeholders in the country. He made this disclosure at Gomoa Nyenyano in the Gomoa East constituency on the first day of his 5-day tour of the central region.
Landing beach committees any Appiah for and an year Juma. And in that pre-mix fuel no about the sea landing beach committee so Nasa landing beach committee no na any party asem any baby a free obia oye afari nibia owo amo here na omu na omo ka landing beach no so it is a pre-mix the bar na ya che ama omo Sepata say omunya premix no and so abai for bayi omo landing beaches ni na committees ni na and afi omo executives MPP executives premix the bar na abedi omo nsem na omo de omo faso atoso asa na omo aton ama afari for no na sa dia no ye ba yɛbɛtwam yɛbɛsa yɛ landing beach committees no outboard motors near the subsidized outboard motors ba yɛde ba yɛkɔ apɔfo hene mo hɔ na ɔmo akyerɛ ɔmo a ɔmo ɔhiama no near the ama ɔmo tua deposit na nea no mutua ne kakra we mu de omo baaye ye de board motors no ba near the akoma party executives na anu ya say party chairman baako not on outboard motors then a party chairman ton outboard motors it is on your money na ye be exercise and e be omo here almost sepata se omunya sa nyoma no ebe ba be di omo sem pepe ene me banyanya no meru ahoy ebi se kwan na nya kra Manante Ghana hangina Macron crossing I will room and so Quandia also me to say Gobanya no point. Naya NBC for the Yan Shabo Yenim saying to be so. Enti minim say nyame be adom abatu ayebetu nyame adom ti NDC be din kunim yedin kunim so Ghana for nim say NDC for nim punto hene yen ye akwan e che government via
Away from that, information reaching us here at Pan-African Television has said that some Nigerian residents in Ghana have besieged the premises of the Nigerian High Commission and petitioned their High Commissioner of alleged maltreatment meted out to them by their Ghanaian counterpart with reference to the trade impasse between both nations. We have been joined on phone by my colleague George Yosifine, who is at the Nigerian High Commission. George, can you hear me? Hello, George. If you can hear me, what can you report from the Nigerian High Commission?
Okay, here at the Nigerian High Commission, specifically Jolu, we came with a team or group from the Nigerian Traders Union here in Accra to actually meet the leadership of the High Commission, specifically the Commissioner, in the person of Esther Ariwa, who is actually the acting High Commissioner to the Nigerian community here in Ghana. On the basis at which they came to meet the acting commissioner was simple justice. One of the main things that they came to meet over was about the closure of their shops, both at Circle and Swami in the Ashanti region. You remember very well that some few years ago, I think somewhere last year, when the closure of this shops of these Nigerians started, and there has been some agitation by these Nigerians as to the reasons why Ghana doesn't have to go far to close their shops. And one of the key that they are also leveraging against our government here in Ghana is that our Ghana government has actually communicated. You remember last month, the leadership of the Nigerian High Community actually visited Ghana, both the Vice President and their Speaker of Parliament actually came here to pay to our president. But according to the group or the members of the Traders Union here in Ghana, they are saying that after that meeting between these two dignitaries, there is actually evacuate them back to Nigeria as a matter of urgency, because they can't stay here and then perish on the land of Ghana, which they believe that they belong to the ECOWAS country, and which the kind of treatment they are also receiving from the Ghana counterpart here is unfair to them. So basically, this is what is actually happening. And in the receiving of the petition to the acting commissioner, the person of Esther Ariwa, who is the acting High Commissioner, he actually promised or assured the community or these Nigerians that she's actually going to do everything within her power to actually help salvage this particular problem between the two countries.
George,
So
these
basically,
persons who are demonstrating or who have submitted their petition to the Nigerian High Commissioner are persons, according to government, operating illegally in this country. In any way, have you tried to find out if they are persons who are operating legally or illegally?
Okay, so I have one of them just close by my side in the person of Chief Chukwem, yes? So Chief Podio, who is also a shop owner and also a shareholder in the Nigerian Union, a traders union here in Accra. Chief, quick one. Yeah, we understood you had this misunderstanding between the Ghana counterpart and your counterpart. How are you trying to resolve the problem once and for all? Because we believe, we know very well that this is not the first time you guys had this encounter before. So what are you doing within your power as a leader for your counterpart to actually help salvage this matter?
Well, we have called several meetings. We've had a lot of meetings between us and our Ghanaian counterparts, who are the Guta, even to the extent of going to the municipal assembly that is seeing our area, because our business are located at Ayewaso Central Municipal. The MCE himself has presided over a lot of meetings for us, and Mr. Joseph Atman, just to get a peaceful resolution. But I can tell you, because I've been part and parcel of it, that he doesn't really want peace to reign. He only says he wants Nigerians out, that he feels that Ghana government and the authorities are not functional. So
and you have this on record? You have this on record?
He wants to support the law.
You are leveraging against it. You have this on record?
Yeah, he says it every now and then on record. He said it even before the MCE of the Iwasu Central, that they are enforcing the law, that the law enforcement are reluctant to do the work.
After getting this information or this statement from him, as a Nigerian, how do you feel?
I feel very bad, because Ghanaians are so much around my own state. I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, Anambra State precisely. And in Anambra State, we have one of the biggest markets in West Africa, which is on the Ghanaian market. Do your research. There is a line called Ghana line on the Ghanaian market. If you go there, they speak to you. You think you are in Accra. And they are living very comfortable and free. Nobody is harassing them. Neither are we expecting them to be harassed tomorrow, because Nigerians love foreigners. So that has been the situation. We feel very bad with it. And we are just demanding that our government is fair in this matter, to have Ghana government reopen our shops so that we get some of the goods that are still valuable, sell them and be able to relocate to somewhere else and continue to fight for survival. We are still too young to go home and fold our arms. So
okay, we are behind time. George, we need to wrap up our interview. Okay, we've been speaking to my colleague George Yosin Vinay. He's been speaking to some of the Nigerian, counterparts who are crying foul that government of Ghana is meting out bad treatment on them. Now, that'll be all for the business stories. Up next is international news. National partners People's Dispatch. Despite the ongoing peace talks between Taliban and Afghan government in Qatar's capital Doha, armed forces from both sides are fighting to hold control over southern Helmand province. Taliban forces attacked the Helmand capital, Lashkar over the weekend, and as per the latest report on Wednesday, October 14, the fight has forced over 30,000 people to flee their homes.
According to the UN Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, by Wednesday, at least 9 health facilities in the province were forced to shut down due to the fighting, depriving thousands of people basic health facilities. Majority of the schools have also been shut down. The fighting in Helmand is not the only frontier between both the forces, trying to capture as much as possible before the final peace talks begin. On Wednesday, a day after the Afghan forces claimed to have killed 15 Taliban insurgents in northern Baghlan province, at least 16 security personnel lost their lives when Taliban stormed one security checkpoint in Gonzaga in Nur district. Dozens of other security forces also received critical injuries. Earlier, Afghan officials told Tolo News that 15 insurgents were killed in Afghan air and ground forces operation in northern Baghlan province on Monday night. Baghlan's police chief spokesperson Ahmed Jaweed Basharat at that time said the military, including National Directorate of Security, Police and Police Special Forces, launched its operation on the Pul-e-Kumir, in which a key Taliban leader, Kari Jumagu, was killed. Taliban had carried out 575 attacks, placed 92 impoverished explosive devices, and conducted 6 suicide bombings in the past 2 weeks, leaving behind 251 civilians dead and injured. Afghan's Interior Ministry estimated. As per several reports, the security forces have pushed back the insurgents from the highway, but the local traffic is worse affected. U.S. forces took out air raids on the advancing Taliban forces on Monday to prevent them from occupying the Lashkar Gah despite its agreement with the latter in February.
One member of the General Industrial Workers Union of South Africa was killed on October 13 while running from the rubber bullets fired by police on striking workers of South Africa's largest dairy company, Glover Industries. At the time of the firing, the workers were returning home from demonstration at the company's depot in Clayville.
According to GIWUSA's Deputy General Secretary, Charles Fachler, the location of the incident was not even close to Clover's plant. He indicated that throughout the day, the police kept a watch on their demonstration at the plant in Clayville, consuming food and drinks Clover was offering them. He told People's Dispatch that there was no disturbance in the day. Mr. Charles Fachler said the demonstration, which was held outside Clover's plant in Bloemfontein, Clayville, Milnerton, Parow, Polokwane and Queensberg were also peaceful, demanding a 16% pay rise and an end to outsourcing employment through labor brokers. 2,000 of the 6,000 workers employed by Clover across South Africa have down tools starting from October 13. It was after 7 that evening when the workers were returning back home from the demonstration at the company's plant in Clayville. They were intercepted at a crossing where the police started shooting everyone wearing the union's red T-shirts, Charles said. Kelson Manaka was hit by a car as he ran for safety from the bullets and died of skull injuries. 2 other workers who were with him have been arrested. We don't know what charges are being pressed against them. Our lawyers are trying to secure their release, Charles said. They are expected to be produced in court on October 15. In the meantime, the strike action and the accompanying demonstrations at different plants will continue until the management hits to our demands, said Charles. We are also calling on the public to support us by boycotting all Clover product.
Finally, on the international front, various anti-debt groups and activists expressed their disappointment over the G20 announcement of a 6-month extension in debt payment suspension for the poorest countries. The decision was announced on Wednesday, October 14, after a virtual meeting of G20 finance ministers and central bank officials.
The decision to extend the debt payment suspension was taken to enable the debtor countries to use their resources to focus on the health and economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. G20 and World Bank jointly initiated the Debt Service Suspension Initiative to ensure the debtors, mostly the poor countries, amidst the coronavirus-induced lockdowns in April this year. It had suspended the debt repayment until the end of the year. According to the announcement on Wednesday, now the countries can avoid repaying the external debt until June 2021. So far, only half of all eligible countries have used the facility. G20 claimed that the new extension will relieve the $14 billion to poorer countries. They can use the money to focus on healthcare and a stimulus package for their domestic recovery. The critics point out severe conditionalities in obtaining the debt suspension as the reason that most of the poorer countries have not used it yet. They also argue that absence of private debtors from the debt repayment scheme has reduced its good effect on the poor countries. Several international aid groups such as Civicus, however, have expressed their disappointment over the decision to extend the debt repayment date by just 6 months. They have been demanding the extension for at least a year. They have been arguing that many countries are forced to spend more on debt repayment rather than on health and other life-saving services, and they should not be forced to part their resources at this critical juncture. Several other groups, such as Asian People's Movement on Debt and Development and Oxfam GB, among others, have called for a complete cancellation of all the external debts for poorer countries.
That'll be all for the international stories. Credit to People's Dispatch for those stories. Up next is sports. Welcome back. Now let's look at what is happening in the world of sports. Accra Lions Football Club have agreed a landmark kit deal with German manufacturers Puma, bolstering the football credentials of the ambitious Ghanaian side. The second-tier club becomes the first Ghanaian football club to sign an apparel agreement with one of the top 3 sports goods manufacturers in the world.
The Division 1's partnership with Puma takes immediate effect, though the value of the deal is not of public knowledge. The Abokobi-based side made the major announcement on Wednesday ahead of the start of the 2020-2021 league season in the West African country. Under the agreement, Puma will provide top-class apparel for the first team of the ambitious club, the club's coaching staff and its feeder teams. Accra Lions follow in the footsteps of the Ghana national teams, who have been able to attract interest from the highly regarded German kit company. According to Enoch Kofi Osei, the club's general secretary, the jersey is a key part of their identity and therefore welcome Puma into the Accra Lions Football Club family as their new official kit supply. The agreement with Accra Lions comes just hours after the second-tier club announced AlexPay as its headline sponsor. The global digital payments company AlexPay will also become the new headline sponsor for the 2020-2021 season. Accra Lions is widely seen as one of the serious clubs in Ghana, having taken club administration to another level with a professional approach despite being a second-tier team.
Ghana Football Association, in a publication on its website, has omitted 3 of its match officials, Alfonso Atiapa, Desmond Abbey and John Nyavo, from the list of qualified referees for the impending fitness test exercise. There's more in the following report.
Into the Ghana Football Association GFA, referee Alfonso Atiapa, referee Desmond Abe, and assistant referee John Nyavo have been referred to its ethics committee by the GFA integrity officer. This comes after a report from the referees committee on a case of allegedly receiving an offer from a football club during the cancelled league season. The matter has been forwarded to the ethics committee for adjudication after investigations were conducted into the case by the Football Association's integrity officer. In effect, the 3 match officials involved have therefore been omitted from the list of referees expected to undergo fitness tests ahead of the 2020-2021 football season. They would be given the opportunity to go through the fitness test later if they are cleared by the ethics committee. Also, referee Daniel Kwame Nsia, whose case is also before the ethics committee, is also excluded from the list in accordance with the regulations. Meanwhile, referee Nathan Anafo has been included in the list of referees set to undergo the fitness test after being exonerated by FIFA disciplinary committee from allegations captured in the Anas expose video.
For sports, up next is entertainment news. Come back now, let's do some show business. Gospel music sensation Eric Jeshron has cautioned stakeholders in the creative arts to be mindful of over-politicization of the sector.
According to him, such moves will only delay the progress of the already challenged sector. The gospel minister made these remarks when speaking in an interview. He advised players in the sector to consider agreeing on proactive solutions to issues rather than holding on to entrenched positions due to party affiliation, among others. This, he said, will hasten the development of the sector and improve the fortunes of players in the industry. Eric Jeshron further called an urgent need to develop a localized digital music streaming platform with less tax regime. For him, this coupled with others would put the creative on a path of good for a better future. Eric Jeshron has recently released his debut album, Barbed, Healing Stream, made up of 10 songs. Songs of the album include You Reign, Healing Stream, Chant of Healing, Nyankopon, Onyoma, Satisfy, Yahweh, Mama's Song, and among others.
Well, that's how we draw the curtains on today's edition of Pan-African News right here on Pan-African Television. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. We had a look at deceased MPs who were replaced by spouses in Parliament and some reactions by the public. Also, we have initiated 1,011 SHS projects since 2017, says Education Minister. OT House of Chiefs seals our independence, Krachura tells President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And later in business, we brought you NDC will streamline fishing sector to ensure growth, says former President John Dramani Mahama. Keep watching Pan-African Television. My name is Justice Appiah. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at Pan-African Television. Keep watching Pan-African Television.
Na jawo tikai mu da do bi kurasi wa sai